Leo Major, Canada, the lone soldier who liberated an entire city by himself. Before the missions that defined him, Major lost sight in one eye after being hit by a phosphorus grenade. He refused to be sent back and returned to war. He is known for his fearlessness and overconfident demeanor. He once captured 93 German soldiers alone by walking directly into their position with 2 guards he captured and intimidate an entire unit into surrender through sheer audacity. His most famous action came during the liberation of Zwolle, Netherlands. Major and one partner were sent on a night reconnaissance mission to assess the German before an Allied airstrike planned for the morning. His partner was killed early in the mission. Knowing the city would be bombed and innocent civilians would be killed, Major chose to act alone. Throughout the night, he moved constantly through the city, killing small groups of German soldiers, throwing grenades, and firing from different locations to create the illusion of a large Allied force inside Zwolle. He located and burned down the German headquarters, shattering enemy morale. By morning, the Germans evacuated the city entirely. Zwolle was liberated by one man in one night without bombardment. Later, he joined the Korean War. Major again distinguished himself by holding a hill while surrounded by Chinese forces, calling artillery dangerously close to his own position to break the encirclement. He survived both wars and died peacefully at 87 years old. Roman Nose, Northern Cheyenne, a warrior who charged riflemen with a bow. Roman Nose was a Northern Cheyenne war leader during the Great Plains Wars of the mid-19th century, fighting US Army forces advancing into Cheyenne territory. He was known for riding directly into combat on horseback, armed with a bow and lance, even when facing soldiers equipped with rifles. He fought by closing distance fast, exploiting the slow reload speed of single-shot rifles. As volleys were fired and soldiers scrambled to reload, Roman Nose pressed forward, loosing arrows at close range and forcing hesitation among the ranks. His presence alone disrupted formations and inflicted fear. Roman Nose believed his war medicine protected him as long as he followed strict rules before battle, including avoiding objects tied to domestic life. Before the fight, he unknowingly carried a cooking pot by accident, breaking the ritual. He realized this only after the battle had begun and believed his protection was gone. Even so, he charged anyway. Roman Nose led repeated assaults against US scouts and was fatally shot during one of those charges. He died at around 30 years old, remembered as a fearless warrior who rode headfirst into rifle fire without fear of death. Lachhiman Gurung, Nepal. 1 Nepali versus 200 Japanese. Lachhiman Gurung fought during World War II as a Gurkha with the British Indian Army, serving in the Burma campaign against Japanese forces in 1945. The fighting was close, brutal, and fought trench by trench in jungle terrain. During the Battle of Taungor, Gurung defended a forward trench position with 2 other Gurkhas. The trench sat at a hinge point of the defensive line. If it fell, the entire section would collapse. Japanese forces launched repeated night assaults, throwing grenades into the trench and rushing forward with bayonets to overwhelm the defenders. At one point, a grenade landed inside Gurung's trench. He threw it back, but a second grenade exploded moments later, blowing off his hand permanently and tearing through his face, body, and leg. In the chaos of the blast, his 2 comrades were killed, leaving Gurung alone in the trench, badly wounded and facing the assault by himself. With only one hand remaining and much of his body shattered by wounds, Gurung stayed upright in the trench and continued firing his rifle at point-blank range. Through repeated attacks, he killed 31 Japanese soldiers, breaking the assault and holding the line alone. For this action, he was awarded the Victoria Cross. Gurung survived the war and passed away at the age of 82 due to age-related illness. Khalid ibn al-Walid, Mecca, modern-day Saudi Arabia. Khalid, aka the Sword of Allah, was recorded as fighting in over 100 battles across his lifetime, undefeated. He fought during the 7th century conflicts between Arab forces, the Meccan Quraysh, and Byzantine-aligned armies, in large open-field engagements shaped by cavalry and bladed weapons. At the Battle of Uhud, 625 CE, roughly 700 Muslims faced a Meccan force of about 3,000. Khalid led a cavalry attack around the battlefield, striking the army from the rear, where defenses were exposed. At the Battle of Mu'tah, 629 CE, Khalid fought while leading 3,000 men against a Byzantine-aligned force estimated at around 10,000, a numerical difference that should have crushed his army. He organized a disciplined fighting withdrawal, rotating units and counterattacking to prevent encirclement, allowing his force to disengage intact. During that battle, 9 swords broke in his hand until only one blade remained. By the end of his life, his body was covered in scars from countless battles. The sword of Allah was never broken in battle, and he later died in bed from illness at around 60 years old. Erich Hartmann, Germany, the most lethal fighter pilot. He fought during World War II from 1942 to 1945 on the Eastern Front, flying for the German Luftwaffe against the Soviet air forces. Hartmann achieved 352 confirmed aerial kills, the highest total ever recorded in air combat. He flew more than 1,400 combat missions during the war. His effectiveness came from how he fought. Hartmann closed in to extremely short range, often under 50 meters before firing. This approach conserved ammunition, reduced exposure time, and made his shots almost impossible to miss. He flew primarily the Messerschmitt Bf-109, fighting skilled Soviet pilots in Yak-1, Yak-9, and LA-5 fighters. He also shot down heavily armored IL-2 Sturmovik attack aircraft. Hartmann was never shot down by an enemy fighter. He crash-landed or bailed out 16 times, mostly from equipment failure or debris from his own successful kills. He survived the war, was captured by the Soviets, spent 10 years in labor camps, was later released, and died peacefully at the age of 71. Flamma, Syria, Roman Empire, a gladiator who refused freedom. Flamma fought as a gladiator in the Roman arenas, including the Colosseum, during the 1st to 2nd century CE. Across his career, Flamma fought 34 recorded matches. He won 21, fought 9 draws, and was defeated 4 times, yet survived every one of them. In the Roman games, defeat did not always mean death. Fighters who were skilled and highly entertaining are likely to be spared. He fought as a heavy gladiator, carrying a large shield and gladius built for close range pressure and endurance. This was not flashy dueling, it was grinding combat designed to exhaust and break opponents. For his determination and dedication in the arena, Flamma was awarded the Rudis, the wooden sword that symbolized freedom, 4 separate times. Each time, he refused. Flamma died at around 30 years old due to accumulated damage from combat. He didn't choose freedom, he chose the glory in the arena. Mad Jack Churchill, United Kingdom, a man who brought a sword and a longbow to a gunfight. John Malcolm Thorpe Fleming Churchill fought in World War II as a British commando, earning the nickname Mad Jack for the way he went into battle. While most officers led from the rear, Churchill charged first, often carrying a Scottish broadsword, a longbow, and sometimes playing the bagpipes to rally his men and intimidate the enemy. He famously believed that any officer who went into action without his sword was improperly dressed. At Dunkirk in 1940, Churchill used his longbow to kill a German soldier, a moment widely recognized as the last confirmed longbow kill in modern warfare. In later raids, he charged into close combat with his sword drawn, using shock and aggression to overwhelm enemy positions alongside his men. Churchill was captured in Yugoslavia in 1944, but later escaped captivity and survived the war. He died peacefully at the age of 89. The Viking Berserker of Stamford Bridge, Norway. The mysterious Viking who held back an entire army. In 1066, during the Battle of Stamford Bridge, the Norwegian army of King Harald Hardrada was retreating under pressure from the advancing English forces. To prevent pursuit, one unnamed Viking warrior remained behind to block a narrow wooden bridge, buying time for his comrades to escape. Contemporary accounts describe him as a large and terrifying figure, wielding a massive two-handed Danish axe. Standing on the bridge, he turned the narrow crossing into a killing ground. English soldiers attempting to rush him were cut down one by one. Chroniclers describe him killing dozens of men, with estimates often placed around 40 English soldiers before anyone could reach the far side. Direct attacks failed. The English could not overpower him head-on. Eventually, they adapted. One soldier slipped beneath the bridge, floated under the planks, and thrust a spear upward, striking the berserker from below. The Viking fell, and the bridge was finally taken. His stand had delayed the English long enough for the Norwegian army to withdraw. He died unnamed, however, his spirit was undefeated. A true warrior. Alright folks, if you're still here, you're awesome. Subscribe so you don't miss legends from around the world. Let me know where you're from and which stories I should cover next.